Have you ever stared at a picture of Stonehenge and just wondered, how? Or maybe you've been fascinated by the giant Moai heads on Easter Island, standing silent guard over the centuries. These are some of the world's greatest mysteries, puzzles left behind by our ancestors that have stumped historians and archaeologists for generations. For the longest time, we could only guess. But what if I told you that we're finally starting to get some real answers? Thanks to incredible new technology and some brilliant detective work, we're peeling back the layers of time and uncovering the secrets of these ancient enigmas. Today, we're going on a journey to explore what we finally discovered about the world's oldest mysteries. Get ready, because some of these revelations will completely change the way you see the past. Let's start with one of the most iconic mysteries on the planet, Stonehenge. For centuries, the debate has raged. Was it a temple for sun worship, a celestial calendar, an ancient burial ground? The truth, it seems, is a little bit of all of the above, and even more complex. Recent discoveries have transformed our understanding. Using ground-penetrating radar, archaeologists have mapped the entire landscape around Stonehenge without digging a single hole. What they found was astonishing. A massive complex of at least 17 previously unknown shrines and structures surrounding the main circle. This wasn't just an isolated monument. It was the center of a bustling sacred landscape. But the biggest breakthrough came from analyzing the stones themselves. We always knew the smaller blue stones came from the Preseli Hills in Wales, over 150 miles away. That's an incredible feat of transport for a prehistoric culture. But why there? Geochemical analysis has now pinpointed the exact outcrops the stones were quarried from. And incredibly, these specific locations were associated with ancient healing springs and myths. This suggests the stones weren't just building materials. They were believed to possess sacred, curative powers. People may have made long pilgrimages to Stonehenge not just for ceremonies but for healing. And what about the giant sarsen stones? Isotopic analysis has traced their origin to a specific woodland area just 15 miles away, called West Woods. This finally solves the puzzle of where the largest stones came from, showing incredible local resourcefulness. So Stonehenge wasn't just one thing. It was a pilgrimage site, a place of healing, a cemetery for the elite, and a grand celestial calendar that connected the living with their ancestors and the cosmos. Now, let's travel halfway around the world to a place shrouded in equal mystery, Easter Island, or Rapa Nui. The image of the colossal Moai statues is unforgettable. Nearly 1,000 of these stone giants are scattered across the island. The big questions have always been, how did they move these multi-ton statues, and why did they make them? Even more pressing, what happened to the civilization that built them? For a long time, the prevailing theory was one of self-destruction. The story went that the islanders, obsessed with statue building, cut down all their trees to help transport the Moai, leading to ecological collapse, warfare, and starvation. It was a grim cautionary tale, but recent science is rewriting that story. It turns out the collapse narrative might be completely wrong. Detailed analysis of ancient pollen and archaeological sites shows that while there was deforestation, the islanders were incredibly resilient and innovative farmers. They developed rock gardens to enrich the poor volcanic soil and protect crops from the wind, allowing them to sustain a stable population for centuries. So, if they didn't collapse, why did they stop building Moai? And how did they move them? Modern experiments have shown that with just ropes and manpower, a team could effectively walk a Moai upright, rocking it from side to side. It didn't require legions of people or the destruction of their entire forest. And new chemical analysis of the soil around the statues reveals something amazing. The areas around the Moai were the most fertile on the island. The quarrying process itself brought nutrient-rich rock to the surface, and it seems the islanders intentionally placed the statues in specific locations to promote agriculture and bless the soil. The Moai weren't just monuments to ancestors. They were symbols of agricultural abundance and sustainability. The society didn't collapse. It simply evolved, adapting its cultural practices over time. From stone statues to intricate lines in the desert. Let's head to Peru to unravel the mystery of the Nazca Lines. These are gigantic geoglyphs, enormous designs etched into the desert floor between 500 BC and 500 AD. They depict animals like hummingbirds, spiders, and monkeys, as well as geometric shapes and straight lines that stretch for miles. Because they're so large, they can only be truly appreciated from the air. This, of course, led to all sorts of wild theories, from alien landing strips to messages for celestial gods. For decades, their true purpose was a complete enigma. How could an ancient culture create such precise massive drawings without ever seeing them from above? Well, the answer, it seems, lies not in the sky but on the ground. By using drones and satellite imagery, researchers have been able to map the lines with unprecedented accuracy, discovering dozens of new figures that were previously unknown. The key insight came when archaeologists started to walk the lines themselves, just as the Nazca people would have. They discovered that many of the lines weren't just random paths. They were processional routes. They led to ceremonial sites, water sources, and ritual mounds. The lines were essentially sacred pathways. People would walk along them during religious ceremonies, likely related to prayers for water and fertility in one of the driest places on Earth. The figures weren't meant to be seen from the sky by aliens, but to be experienced from the ground by people. Different geoglyphs were likely created by different family groups or clans, each contributing to a shared sacred map laid out across the desert. It was a way of organizing their society and their relationship with a harsh but sacred landscape. Finally, let's dive into the ocean to the legendary lost city of Atlantis. First described by the Greek philosopher Plato, Atlantis was said to be an advanced naval power that sank into the sea in a single day and night. For thousands of years, people have searched for it everywhere from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean. Was it a real place, or just a philosophical fable created by Plato to illustrate his ideas about an ideal state? For most of history, scholars lean towards it being a myth. But what if the myth had a real-life inspiration? A compelling theory now points to the Minoan civilization on the island of Thera, now known as Santorini. Around 1600 BC, Thera was home to a flourishing advanced Bronze Age culture, but it was also a massive volcano. And that volcano erupted with a force hundreds of times more powerful than any modern eruption. It blew the center out of the island, creating the caldera we see today, and triggered a colossal tsunami that devastated the Minoan civilization across the Aegean Sea. The archaeological site of Akrotiri on Santorini gives us a snapshot of this lost world. Perfectly preserved under layers of volcanic ash, we found a sophisticated city with multi-story buildings, beautiful frescoes, and advanced plumbing systems, a true marvel of its time. The sudden and catastrophic destruction of this real, advanced island civilization mirrors Plato's account of Atlantis with eerie accuracy. It is highly probable that stories of this devastating event were passed down through generations for over 1,000 years, eventually reaching Plato, who then used this powerful historical memory as the basis for his philosophical tale of Atlantis. So, while we may never find a sunken city with that exact name, we have found its likely inspiration, a real powerful civilization that was lost to the sea in a single terrible day. From the sacred fields of Stonehenge to the fertile grounds of Rapa Nui, from the ceremonial pathways of Nazca to the volcanic ruins of Thera, we're seeing these ancient mysteries in a new light. Technology is giving us the tools to listen to the whispers of the past, and what they're telling us is a story not of alien intervention or societal failure, but of human ingenuity, resilience, and a deep spiritual connection to the world around them. These discoveries don't make the mysteries any less magical. If anything, they make them more profound, connecting us more deeply to the real people who created these wonders. The world still holds many secrets, but with every passing year, we get a little closer to understanding our incredible, shared human story. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through time. If you found these discoveries as fascinating as I do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into the world's greatest mysteries. Let me know in the comments which mystery you'd like us to explore next. Until then, stay curious.